To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
A sentiment that I see echoed all across the internet that I also agree with is that Disneyland's Tomorrowland is outdated and underutilized, and that's to say the least. Now, we've had this look or version of Tomorrowland since 2005, but even that is based off of an earlier version of Tomorrowland from 1998. And by that, I mean they painted a few things silver and put some plants in. Tomorrowland is one of the most visited lands in the entire park, and that's because of Star Tours and Space Mountain. But at the same time, it also remains one of the worst themed lands in any of the Disney parks around the world. And I feel like the Tomorrowland at Walt Disney's original Magic Kingdom deserves better, don't you? Today we will be talking about possible fixes and changes they can make to Tomorrowland to bring the land back to its former glory of being realistic, well-themed, while also being an entertaining and educational look into the future for people of all ages. Not just for Star Wars fans and not just for indoor roller coaster enthusiasts. I mean, my favorite attraction in Tomorrowland is Buzz Lightyear's Astro Blasters, but I get it, it's not fantastic. Today I will be giving you my personal opinion and ideas for the future of Tomorrowland, and what Disney could do to reinvigorate the most futuristic place in all the park. Today we will be discussing how to fix Tomorrowland. In order to understand how Tomorrowland got to the sorry state it's in today, we need to go back in time to 1995. More specifically, we need to talk about ska bands. After listening to roughly 2 songs, I can say that ska is a mixture of island music and rock and roll. Early 2000s rock and roll, mind you. Here's the best example of ska I could find. And that's about all I can play before I get copywritten. Music like this was very popular around the mid-90s, and especially popular in Southern California where Disneyland is. And ska music was especially popular among the teenagers, and where would teenagers go to meet and listen to this kind of music? Tomorrowland, of course. And because of the new influx of people coming to Tomorrowland and listening to this music and riding all of the attractions, Disney decided to redo the area completely. The area reopened in 1998, heavily inspired by Jules Verne's science fiction fantasy novels and Disneyland Paris's Discoveryland. The new signature attraction of the makeover was the rocket rods, and we've talked about them before. They were a bad idea, they broke the People Mover track, and I hate them for that. The rocket jets was redressed and rethemed as a moving sculpture called the Observation, and Tomorrowland's brand new spinning attraction, the Astro Orbiter, was placed at the entrance of the land. Red Rocket's Pizza Port, which remains there today, replaced Mission to Mars, and America Sings, formerly the Carousel of Progress, was rethemed into Interventions, which is kind of still there today. And of course, Tomorrowland's own e-ticket attraction, Space Mountain, was painted green and gold for some reason. So yes, this horrible update to Tomorrowland was the catalyst and the beginning of the end for this land. At some point, the Observation moving sculpture stopped moving, the rocket rods closed down altogether and never reopened. Honey, I Shrunk the Audience was replaced with Captain EO and then again replaced by Star Wars Path of the Jedi. The Submarine Voyage then closed in 1998, and Tomorrowland was, not great. In 2003, Tomorrowland changed again, with Space Mountain returning to its magnificent white coat of paint, and Buzz Lightyear's Astro Blasters opening in 2005. Later on that same year, Imagineers repainted all of Tomorrowland to a more silver and blue version of the 1998 Tomorrowland, although it did retain some of the copper accents and lack of a cohesive theme that the 1998 version had. But let's get down to the nitty-gritty here. What can we do to save Tomorrowland? But please keep in mind that this is my opinion. If you guys have any ideas for a new Tomorrowland that you'd like to share, leave it down in the comments below. We can talk about it. Starting at the entrance of Tomorrowland, we have those golden rock spires that need to be removed. Not because they look terrible, I think they're okay, but because they take up a lot of room and they make getting in and out of Tomorrowland a lot harder than it needs to be. Moving back, we have the biggest eyesore in all of Disneyland, the Astro Orbiter. I'm personally of the opinion that they just need to completely remove this attraction from the park. Either that or Disney could retheme the Astro Orbiter into the jetpacks like at Shanghai Disney. You then move the jetpacks back on top of the old loading zone for the People Mover, back where the old Astro Jets used to be. You could use the area that was occupied by the Astro Orbiter as some sort of seating area. You could move the Kugel Ball from the back of Tomorrowland up to the front, or you could have some sort of kinetic sculpture, something that would greet people at the entrance to Tomorrowland and would immediately let them know that they're entering the future. Maybe something similar to Rolly Crump's Tower of the Four Winds with a little sci-fi flair. flair. Moving back to Star Tours now, I think a few people are gonna get a little upset at what I have to say, but you remove Star Tours. The Star Wars IP is getting its own massive land in the back of Disneyland, and the Millennium Falcon ride, Smuggler's Run, is basically Star Tours times 10. I'm going for a more modern interpretation of the classic retro future here, so maybe the outside of Tomorrowland could look like Shanghai's. So during the day, the architecture will be smooth buildings with touches of blue and gray here and there, but at nighttime, Tomorrowland will come to life with colors similar to that of Disney World's Tomorrowland today. Blues, greens, purples, yellows, rainbows of color everywhere. And we replace Star Tours with a brand new, updated version of Adventure Through Inner Space. A very classic educational attraction from Disneyland's original Tomorrowland. An updated version of Disneyland's classic attraction with new show scenes, effects, and miracles from molecules playing while you're standing in the queue all the time. Cause that song is a bop. I think that's what the kids say these days. Moving across the street to Buzz Lightyear's Astro Blasters, I'm not quite sure what to do with this attraction because I personally love it. But with Toy Story Mania open at Pixar Pier across the way being the same sort of attraction, I do think we should take Buzz Lightyear out. As much as it hurts me to say that, you could either do a massive rehaul of the attraction and open it up as Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters, but with the same feel and special effects as Buzz Lightyear Planet Rescue in Shanghai. Look up a ride through of Buzz Lightyear Planet Rescue, it's awesome. Or they could do something completely new and open a walk-through interactive attraction. Something similar to the Mysteries of the Nautilus at Disneyland Paris, except not based on Jules Verne. Maybe a new updated version of Space Station X1 named Space Station X2, an attraction that would have fun activities for children while also having interesting special effects to look at for the older guests. It could be a sort of immersive space station similar to how Galaxy's Edge is going to be almost a real world that you can live in. This will be that, but in the future in Tomorrowland, albeit on a smaller scale. If they wanted to, they could even have real NASA or SpaceX employees or astronauts come in and give demonstrations to people. That would be really fun. Of course, with removing Star Tours and Buzz Lightyear, you'd need to retheme the gift shops, but that shouldn't be too hard for Disney. Moving further back, before we get to Space Mountain or Autopia or the submarines, we have the Star Wars Path of the Jedi theater area thing. This should become the new Tomorrowland Terrace, a sort of indoor family club style area where they could play today's top 40 hits and have dance parties and local bands perform without ruining the atmosphere of Tomorrowland outside. I feel like that would be a good use of the theater space they have today, while also freeing up more area outside. Speaking of outside, the Tomorrowland Terrace, now known as the Galactic Grill, could be rethemed as well. A menu featuring more environmentally friendly foods, maybe an Impossible Burger in addition to a normal hamburger, maybe a salad made using greens grown right there on Disneyland property. I mean, that's a little bit of a stretch, but you kind of get what I'm saying. The other restaurant, Pizza Port, also known as Pizza Planet nowadays, should be rethemed and retooled into something similar to Epcot's upcoming Mission Space restaurant. A sit-down, reservation-only restaurant featuring foods from all over our planet and prepared using new cutting-edge techniques. Maybe even let you see into the kitchen from where you're sitting, so that way you could see all of the futuristic stuff happening behind the scenes. And I think we can all agree that that's way better than overpriced pizza and pasta. Moving backward to Innoventions, I say tear it all down, just remove all of Innoventions, and you'll see why in a moment. Moving over to the Autopia, even though the Autopia is an opening day Disneyland attraction, I think it's about time to retire this one, guys. It takes up so much room in a theme park where space is at a premium, it smells horrible, it uses up a ton of gas, and it's not really reminiscent of the future now, is it? I'm seeing a lot of people saying that they should replace all of the cars at the Autopia with electric cars, but that won't really be the future either in a couple of years, which really is the problem with Tomorrowland. You can't really keep up with the future because the future arrives before you're even done building the attraction. No, I'm saying they should completely tear out the Autopia and Innoventions and in its place build the Tron roller coaster. You know, the Tron roller coaster that's currently in Shanghai and that they're building in Florida. I feel like giving Tomorrowland another e-ticket roller coaster would not only reduce the wait time for Space Mountain, but also bring even more people into the land. It would be a nice flagship opening day attraction to bring people into this new Tomorrowland. Now, as for Space Mountain, don't worry, I'm not going to change that much. The track, the ride itself, and the exterior of the attraction will remain mostly the same. The only new things are going to be in the queue. The inside of Space Mountain would be completely redone. The new theme would be very similar to the extended queue that they recently opened up for Space Mountain, focusing on space exploration, showing different satellites and probes, all while expanding the story of Space Station 77, and again tying into the story of Space Station X2, the walkthrough attraction that we talked about earlier. Other than that, Space Mountain is pretty much the same. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And now we transition back to the Finding Nemo submarine voyage. Now this attraction, like the Autopia, does take up a lot of room, but I heard Disney actually gets paid to keep this attraction open by the city of Anaheim. So if we have to keep the Finding Nemo submarines open, I say change the theming on the outside to better reflect the transition between Fantasyland and Tomorrowland. Give the subs a brand new coat of white paint on the outside, and maybe change up the queue a little bit, make it indoors and close it, make it the marine life sanctuary from Finding Dory. Yeah, that's right, that's that movie. Again, our goal is to educate and entertain. Now I find the monorail to be actually pretty good in its current state. Maybe upgrade the monorails to a newer version or just redo the interiors, but other than that, I think the attraction itself is really well done. And it's a nice way to get from downtown Disney right back into the parks. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my idea for the brand new Tomorrowland. Wait, aren't we forgetting something? Oh, that's right. People Mover. Bring back the People Mover. I don't care if you have to close all of Tomorrowland down for 2 years. Tear down that track. Reopen the People Mover. They have it at Walt Disney World. We need it at Disneyland. Bring back the People Mover. I don't care how long it takes or what you need to close to bring it back. Just bring it back. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my ideal, perfect Tomorrowland. What did you guys think of my ideas? Do you think they were bad, good? Do you have your own ideas? Let me know down in those comments below, like I said. And Disney, if you like any of the ideas I placed before you today and you need some creative consulting, call me. Hello everybody, thank you for watching my ideal Tomorrowland, the way I would fix Tomorrowland at Disneyland. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Remember that I do have a new merchandise shop open now at teespring.com. I'll be putting a fun little ad in my next video, so keep an eye out for that. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at OffhandDisney. I'm always tweeting fun things over there, and if you want to discuss Disney with other like-minded Offhand Disney fans, be sure to join the Discord. I'll have the link for that in the description down below. I hope you all had a lovely Thanksgiving. Again guys, thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. We're about to hit 150,000 subscribers. Maybe I already have at the time of posting this. I don't know. So thank you all so much for that. I'm gonna do some sort of special sometime, I promise. I will see you guys all in the next video. Goodbye.